great to be with you again on Messy Church. I hope you're enjoying being back at school. And Kimberly's going to be talking to you today about animals and creation and spring. And I'm going to be making something exciting, or we're going to be making something exciting out of a paper plate, some bits of tissue, 2 pegs, 3 lolly sticks, a piece of wool, and some other bits and bobs. Okay, we're going to be making a beautiful spring scene of a calf in a field, or it could be a sheep, a baby lamb in a field. Okay, so listen carefully to what Kimberly has to say, and then I look forward to crafting with you again soon.
Good morning and welcome to Messy Church Online. My name's Kimberly and I'm going to take you through some worship, and then my friend Michèle is going to show you some fun crafts that you can make. I must say I'm really rather thrilled to see and hear the spring coming after what feels like a rather long and grumpy winter. Birdsong and the gentle warmth of the sun really do lift our spirits and remind us of the beauty of God's creation, which we all take for granted at times. I would like us to think about all things spring for today's worship. I wonder what your favourite things are about springtime. When I asked my daughter, she replied that I love all the baby animals. They're so sweet. I have to agree with her, although the bird song, I really enjoy the bird song, and like the smell of spring flowers are just simply gorgeous. If you'd like to share what your favourite things are about spring, do pop something in the comments bar below. And let's listen to an appropriately springy hymn about rebirth and enjoy some pictures of God's creation. I like the idea of Christ being risen as we come into this springtime and the kind of rebirth that we see and hear in nature. Psalm 100 teaches us about God's greatness and his power. And we can see this kind of reflected in the world around us. Let's look at the psalm itself. Psalm. I like the idea of Christ being risen as we come to springtime and the rebirth in nature. I'd like us to have a look at Psalm 100. This psalm teaches us about God's greatness and power, and we can see this reflected in the world around us. I'll read you the psalm. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. For the Lord is good and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all the generations. Let's finish our Messy Church worship this morning with a prayer. God, thank you for spring and the hope of warmer, longer, brighter days. Thank you for the coming of growth and life and birth. Thank you that things are coming awake in the world. Your word says that we will have provision and hope and joy and health and loving relationships. The here and now in this life. We hope in you and in your promises. We hope in your gift of spring. Amen. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's been really good fun, and I'm going to pass you over to my friend Michèle.
So, as I said earlier, we're going to be making a cow in a calf, a baby cow, a calf in a spring field. Okay, now the first thing that you're going to need is a paper plate like this. Okay, now I have got lovely sky blue paint. Okay, and I've got a spare paper plate. Now that's where I've put my paint. Now if you haven't got paint, that's absolutely fine. You can just use felt tip pens or crayons. It doesn't matter. Now I'm using a bit of a sort of sponge adapter type brush here. Now again, doesn't matter what sort of brush you have. You can use any type of brush. I'm just using this big one, because as you can see, it goes really, really quickly because it's very thick. Now, if you've got a paper plate like mine that's got grooves on the edge, you need to be really careful to make sure that you get paint in all of those grooves, okay? And if you've got a pencil, a colouring pencil, or you're doing wax crayons, or whatever you're using that is blue, make sure that you cover the whole of the plate. Okay, so I'm going to keep going till I get right the way round to the other side. Nearly done. Look how quick it is with this big, thick, spongy thing that I've got here. Okay, those of you who saw the Messy Church before Christmas where we did the puffy paint, you will recognise this brush. This is the brush that I used for making the puffy snowflakes out of. Right, there we go. So there is our first job done. One plate covered in blue paint. Now I'm going to put that to one side for a moment so that that can dry a little bit before we start sticking on it, and we're going to think about making the cow stroke sheep, whichever you want it to be. So the first thing that you need are 2 pegs. They have to be wooden pegs, okay, because otherwise you won't be able to colour them in, all right? Now, if you haven't got wooden pegs, that's absolutely fine. You could cut out some legs from brown cardboard or white cardboard and colour them in. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a Sharpie pen, and my Sharpie pen is black, and I am colouring in the pegs. I only need to colour in one side though. I don't need to colour the back in because the back is going to be stuck on to the paper plate, okay? So you're going to colour them in, and remember, you don't need to colour the back side, but you do need to colour the edges, okay? Because people will be able to see those when they are looking at your cow. Okay, so keep colouring them in like that. Go all the way round until you have done 2 pegs. Okay, so there we have it. 2 coloured in pegs in black Sharpie for the legs of your cow or sheep. So the next thing we need is we need a body. So we're going to cut an oval shape out of white card. Okay, so I've got a pencil and I'm just going to draw a big fat oval body shape. just like that on the piece of card, and then we're going to cut it out. Okay, so if you're not very good with scissors, you might want to ask a big brother or sister or a grown-up to help you, or just give it your best shot. Okay, so try and cut as neatly as you can all the way round the oval shape. Okay, so there we are. There we have the body shape. Okay, now this is where you need to make a decision. You can either cover it with cotton wool if you want to make a lamb, or if you're making a cow like I have, we're going to draw some black and white shapes on it. Okay, so just draw 3 black splodges on your cow. There you are. You can see I've just drawn 3 black lines, and then I'm going to colour them in so that we have a black and white cow. Okay, now I think black and white cows have a special name, but I can't remember what it is. I think it might be Frisians, but I'm not sure. But if you know, feel free to message me and let me know. That would be really good. Okay, so colour them in. Make sure you get as close to the edge as you can and colour it in as neat as you like. Might be a good idea to put a piece of paper underneath as well if you're using Sharpie, because you don't want to get colouring on your table, do you? Okay, so nearly there now. Done 2 of my black splodges. Just coming up for the last one. Here we go. Colouring it in so there are no white spaces. There we have the body of our cow. It can be that way up, it can be that way up, doesn't really matter. Okay, so then what else do we need when we've got that? That's right, we need our face, don't we? So I've cut out another shape. I've done this one already. It's a little oval shape with 2 ears poking out each side, okay? Now this was quite tricky, so what I did, in order to make sure I got it equal both sides, I did it on the fold of a piece of paper. I did it like that, and then when I opened the paper out, it was double, okay? So there's a little tip for you. So what do we need for our cow? Well, he needs a big pink nose, doesn't he? So in order to get the big pink nose, we're just going to draw a line across his face like that. About halfway up, we're going to draw a line, a sort of a semicircle line. And underneath that line, we're going to colour him in pink. Okay, so if you've got pink crayon or a pink Sharpie, or a pink felt tip pen, or even if you've got pink paint, that would be good too. Okay, so we're going to colour it in pink, like that, as neat as you can, not leaving any white edges. And he needs 2 nostrils. So, oops, wrong pen. I'm going to do 2 nice black spots on his pink nose for his nostrils, just like that. And then I'm going to give him or her some eyes. So I'm going to draw 2 lovely eye shapes with a little black splodge in the middle, and because I think cows are quite cute, baby cows, and they often have big eyelashes, I've given my cow some lovely eyelashes. Okay, so there's his face and there's his body, and we're going to stick one onto the other. So just a little bit of glue. If you've got glue stick, that will do. If you've got PVA glue, that is also good. Oops, I've just put the glue brush in the paint. That's not so good. Oh dear, oh dearie, dearie, dear. Right, and now I've dropped his head. Okay, so there we go. Stick the cow's head onto the cow's body, like that. And you could do exactly the same if you were deciding to make a sheep. you would just stick the head onto the sheep. Okay, and then we're gonna clip the pegs on to make the legs, just like that. Okay, now what we need to do next is we need to make the fence. Okay, so our field is almost dry, okay, but we're going to make the fence and then we can put the whole thing together. So you're going to need 3 lolly sticks, okay, and you need to cut 2 of them in half. Okay, so you can do it just with a pair of scissors, okay, and you can just cut it in half like that. And sometimes they fly across the table. Sometimes they crack a little bit, but that's fine. Now you've got a flat end and a rounded end, okay? That's what you need to keep. The rounded end for the top of the fence, okay? And if you've managed to cut them exactly in half, that's very clever, and you can use one for each end of the fence. If you haven't quite managed to cut them exactly in half, you can take 1 lolly stick, the one that's the length that you want, put it on top of the other lolly stick and draw a line with a pencil at the end so you know where to cut it, and then you'll have 2 that are exactly the same length. Okay, so there we are. I've now got 2 lolly sticks the same length. So those are those standing up. They're the fence posts. That's these pieces here, the upright ones. Now we need 2 other ones that don't have round bits on. Okay, so take the other lolly stick that you had before, the end, the bits that you cut off, and then just cut the rounded end off. Oh, and that flew across the table as well. And then measure the other one so it's the same length, okay, like I did before. Put 1 lolly stick on top of the other one, just like that. Okay, and then draw a line with the pencil so you know where to cut, just like that. And then you'll end up with 2 pieces the same length. Okay, so you've now got 2 bars for your fence, okay, the same length. So now take some PVA glue. I'm not sure glue stick is going to be strong enough for this bit, so you do need PVA glue really. So take some PVA glue and put it onto your posts where you want your lolly sticks to go across. So I've got my 2 posts and I'm putting glue at the top, and then I'm going to put 1 of my bars on there like that. Okay, just like that. Try and make sure it's as straight as possible. Okay, and then put some more PVA on each post near the bottom. Okay. I think that might be a bit too much PVA. I think that's going to squidge all over my table in a minute. Try and take some of that off. There we are. And then pop the post on like that. And then you have a little fence. Okay, just like that. Okay, so now we're going to leave that to dry for a little bit. And we're going to go back to our field. Okay, and we're going to make some grass to go around the bottom. All right, so to make the grass, all you need is some green tissue paper. Now my green tissue paper is cut very nicely into squares. You don't need it in squares, it's just that happens to be how mine was. Okay, so we're going to put PVA on the bottom of the plate where you want to put your grass. Okay, now I'm only going to do 1 small section to show you how to do it. Okay, and then take a piece of your tissue paper, scrunch it up and stick it on the glue. Okay, so you take your tissue paper, you scrunch it up and you stick it onto the glue. Okay, and then you cover up all of your glue. Now you can put as much grass as you want or as little grass as you want, okay? But that's basically how to do it, okay? So you put some glue on the plate, scrunch up your tissue paper and put it on, okay? Now, then I thought it would be really nice because it's springtime to have a sun. And if you wanted to, you could put some clouds, okay? So I've cut out a piece of yellow card, and I've stuck that with PVA glue on the top there of my plate, okay? So we've got that there. And then I took my cow, or your lamb, depending on what you've made, okay? And you need to turn it around and put PVA glue on the pegs behind the body, so all along here. Now in this case, I would say you probably need quite a lot of glue, okay? So more glue is probably better in this case, okay? Because the pegs are quite heavy, all right? So then decide whereabouts on your plate you're going to put your cow. And I'm going to put this one about here, okay? And then stick him on to the paper plate just like that. Now you will probably have more grass on yours, okay? But this is just an example. And there we are, there's my other cow sitting in the green grass, okay? And then you need to take your fence, and again, we need to put PVA on the back of the fence. Okay, so and your lolly sticks are heavier than paper again, so we're going to put quite a lot of glue on just to be sure, just to be on the safe side, okay? We're going to turn that round and we're going to stick that onto the plate. Just like that, okay? So then you've got a fence. All right, so that's a half done one, just to show you how to get things going. And here is the finished one. And I have put a little hook on the back. So to make that little hook, all I've done is I've taken a piece of wool, folded it in half, and tied a knot in the bottom. And if you're not very good at tying knots, then ask a grown-up or a big brother or sister to help you, okay? And then I've just taken some sellotape and taped it across the back, okay? There we are, and there is your spring on a plate. I hope you enjoy making these, or you have enjoyed making them if you've been doing it along with me. And if you've got any pictures you'd like to share, I'd love to see them in the comments section below. Hope you enjoy the rest of your 2 weeks left at school, and then that you have a super Easter, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.